Linh-chan and Dimi-chan play games. Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
Well, she's saying welcome back too.
She's not very happy being carried on there. I thought a woman likes to be carried.
You like to be carried, don't you?
I do not like to be carried on your head.
No, on my shoulder, on my back, you do.
On your back, I do. Yeah, I like you carrying me on my back.
Do you know?
Like waddle waddle.
She gotta do it this time too.
First is Ruto.
Ruto.
Oh my goodness! I finally found my mother's stone.
Oh, is she the princess?
Yeah. I got very upset when no Jabu-Jabu swallowed me. I'm it. While I was feeding him, he suddenly swallowed me. I was so surprised I dropped it inside. But now that I found it, I don't need to be in here anymore. Bye, sucker. So take me home right now.
So demanding. Take me home right now.
Have you not noticed? I can't even get on that thing,
and
it's floating.
It just raised her up.
Away.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
And he's an ugly one.
Oh, she turned into an ugly one. It's a nasty looking octopus.
So I think I just need to go.
Oh yeah, you're right. That thing spins.
Of course I might. Anyways, today is Interesting Topic Thursday.
Interesting Topic Thursday!
So we have an interesting topic for you. While I
From us to you.
From us to you. While I spin around and around on this thing trying to get to his butt.
Around.
And that topic is adoption.
Adoption. Yay. And why are we talking about adoption? Because it's good to know. And there are lots of children out there that are in need of a family. So it's good to know your options in case you ever plan on, creating a family one day.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't necessarily need to have your own kids. I mean, there are lots of children out there being abandoned every single day that are in great need of a family to take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're talking about it. And also because I would love to adopt someday. And so this research is more for me as well, and for all those people out there who are interested in adoption. So just a quick basics on adoptions. There are two types.
Mm-hmm.
One is domestic and one is international adoption. And if you follow the gossips and the social media and out there and stuff like that, I mean, a lot of celebrities adopt outside of the United States. It's actually very common, and there are actually some myths or what is it called? Misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Of that leads people into adopting outside of the United States, even though there are lots of children here in the U.S. that need a home.
Mm-hmm. And what are those misunderstandings?
And some of the misunderstanding is that if you adopt, adopting in a lot of people. There are pros and cons for both, but some people think that adopting outside of the United States costs a lot of money and stuff like that, but it actually isn't true. Adopting process in general costs a lot of money, whether you do it domestically or internationally.
Mm-hmm.
They all cost money, and of course it varies depending on the program that you do and the kind of service that is being done or carried out for you. But it roughly ranges from $35,000 to $50,000.
Mm-hmm. Dollars, right?
Dollars, U.S. dollars. This is talking about in America. And if, of course, even if you do internationally, this is still the price that you pay, about $35,000 to $50,000 U.S. dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that and I think one of the main thing, or I think two of the main things why people adopt outside of the United States is that they feel that the waiting process it's actually a lot shorter because oh, it's outside of the States, so it doesn't have to wait long. So a lot of people do that. And another really main thing that people do outside of the United States is that the security of having full custody. Meaning
no one's gonna come back.
No, meaning that someone's not gonna come after you and say you need to return this child now. You know? And it's not because you're now crossing the entire ocean to the other side of the world to adopt. So by distance, it prevents them from coming after you. It's not really that. It's most of the time children abroad are in worse conditions, you know? So one is security. A lot of people adopt outside of the United States because they feel that, they're not, the chance of them losing that child is actually going to be very low. And mostly because, it has to do with the reason why children were given up to adoption in the first place. And in countries like, in countries like that, like a lot, like in China, how when the one-child policy was enforced, like a lot of people, and since China is a very male-dominant culture, they gave up a lot of baby girls. So, and because of, the traditional way of thinking, a lot of baby girls were abandoned. And so, just for that itself, like, nobody's gonna come after you when you adopt that girl, So that's one of the reasons. Other reasons are like, the babies are given up because one, they have some sort of illness, or the parents actually it's already deceased. Like there's and they are given up because there's nobody left to take care of them. That's why they were given up to the orphanage. But in America, it's a slightly different. In America, when it comes to adoption, there are several kinds of domestic adoptions. One is like an open adoptions where like, or there's a lot of cases where like young women become pregnant and end up realizing that they can't take care of themselves. So then they enroll in these like adoption agencies, hoping to look for a home for their child while they're carrying the child. So then in a process like that, like the mothers still have a say in where the child is going, or or that's why it's an open adoption. So then like the mother of the child might still want to have some sort of connection with the child. So then that sort of gives people like the worries that like, oh, one day she's gonna come back and want her child back, and that's a reason why a lot of people want to adopt abroad. And I think it's understandable. Recently, there's a case just last year, and cases like this happen all the time where there's a foster family took in a 17-month-old little girl, and this girl has 1/64th of Native American blood. And the mother of this baby is a drug addict. The father has a criminal record. So this also,
I remember this case.
And this
when
is
it was on the
also
news.
part of the reason why a lot of kids, especially in America, are being given up or goes into the system, not because their family's deceased or anything. It's because the family is still alive, or that they can't take care of them for some sort of reason, like criminal record. They're being thrown into jail, so then now the child's being taken away into the social services system and then given into a foster home. That kind of situation, that happens a lot in America, which is also why people don't technically want to adopt in America, because there's all this ties to the child. So then with this case, what happened is that this little girl has 1/64th% of Native American blood in her, and with the parent of that record, the social services took the child, gave it to this foster home family in Los Angeles, California, and this family decides to adopt this child. But during that whole it was like 4 years later though. Like this battle started like while the girl was with them. So then like in the meantime, the government or social services, whoever these people are actually looking for relatives of this girl so then they can return the girl back. And if you don't know what foster care system is like, foster care is temporarily home for kids. It's not permanent adoption. It's a temporary place to place a child, and people who involve themselves in foster care usually get government aid from
They
the
don't
government.
do it for... Like, they probably do it out of the
They
good
do
of their
it
heart,
out of the good of their heart.
like
In this
some people
case,
don't.
Hold on. In this case, this family did it out of the good of their heart, but a lot of people abuse that system and then there are lots of cases where kids are being abused, and that's why a lot of kids end up running away from home. It's
Suicide.
because they suicide and stuff like that. It's because they were placed in foster care systems like this. But for this case, this family had children of their own and wanted to adopt this little girl, but the thing is, it's temporarily, and I guess they grew an attachment to this girl, so then they wanted to adopt. But throughout the whole process of them wanting to adopt the girl, they were being told that they need to give the girl back. So then they were actually involved in a battle between the government and repealing and trying to fight for the girl to stay with them until the 4 years later, until the end when the case was brought into the court of Los Angeles or whatever. They said no, the child needs to return back to their home because, and the fact that she has Native American blood
Screws
in her
with the whole thing.
messes with the case even more because of what happened when the colonization and how Native Americans were being screwed over by all these, colonizers and settlers who come in and take over their place. So then there's a treaty or there's a welfare act that was set up. It's called the Indian Child Welfare Act, and it's to protect children of Native American descent.
It's more like to protect the culture of Native Americans.
And also to protect the culture as well. So then just because this little girl has a very small percentage, she is now being forced, and by this welfare act, she now has to be brought back and placed with her Native American tribes, or so that way she doesn't lose her heritage. And that was why
despite the fact that might not be what's best for her.
Well, we don't know. But here's the thing, though. Like, had this family had just given up this girl from the very start when they were told that they need to give it up, I don't think it would have been this dramatic experience for this little girl to remember. Like, it made the news, and that like they were carrying her out to the car, and she was begging them, like, please don't let me go. I don't want to go. I want to stay. Like, the fact that they didn't want to give her up from the beginning, I think that's what
agitated the situation.
That's what progresses this problem and cause it to be this bad.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right? Because they should know that it's foster care. Foster care, I mean, like, it's
not permanent. It's
not permanent, and it's really hard for a parent to say, to take care of a child for a few years and say, okay, I'm just gonna give it up, But I think they sort of brought it on to themselves as well by not giving up when they were supposed to. Instead, they went and fought, and this fighting dragged out for 4 years. In the end, the girl had already gotten used to living with them, so of course she doesn't want to go. But again, they're kids. They're not going to remember. She's only 4 years old. She's not going to remember.
Yeah.
As
long as she has a stable life afterwards.
And she's living in Utah now. But yeah, this is why a lot of people don't want to adopt in the United States. This is one of the reasons.
Well, it makes sense.
And yeah, and then just going into detail about that, it's like, the family ties between them. And a lot of people who adopt kids don't want to have the kids to still have a bond or some sort of connection with their biological parents, especially if you adopt a child that has like parents who have bad records, like drug addicts or whatever, it might be a really negative effect on the child growing up. So of course you don't want that either, you know. I feel like if I want to adopt a child, I don't want a child that has any problems like that either. So that's why people go abroad, because most likely the parents are dead. That's why the kids are being given up, or they really don't want the kids. That's why they end up in the system. Not like how here we take the child away, place them in the system, even though the parents are still alive. You know.
Well, in any case, we'll continue this discussion next time.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Bye-bye. Mi-chan, Linh-chan, Linh-chan, Dimi-chan, Linh-chan.